This is Joseph Rigg, I love a soldier, God's Army Rising for youth, also from U.S. Military 120. I wasn't there very long. God led me another way before the Second Gulf War, but this video is to get to a point of where we're otherwise in the world be perceived as a definite legal case against Social Security. And some things that I spoke about numerous times to try to make a long story short. Now, I'm also one who's a watchman, and I know a lot of things that are about to teach the land a lesson, who criticizes the world and see not the destructions that are at hand. But I'm just going localized with this to show why you trust in a man like the Bible says and only God. And what I'm experiencing in my little humble abode here is a good example. And to make a long story short, and I'm going to give you the latest and kind of backtrack why I already know legally what it is. And this is the kind of case where you would have been talking about serious financial output, even though I'm not a lover of money. To give a good example of what I mean, I just recently went to the Social Security office in Camp Spring, Maryland, which was based on the information of Kentucky and D.C., reflecting an amount of money of $499 that was paid last May, supposedly, which went to a case against Charlotte Hall Social Security 2017. Now stay with me, 2017, where or recent Charlotte Hall office there, just to paint the picture, created a fiasco, sending money to a wrong bank in St. Mary's County, Maryland, instead of the appropriate bank, which caused me an April check of that year, 2017. And the previous mistake was the same, because I also had two other checks just prior to that, during a reinstatement, that caused me to even buy a vehicle that turned around and wound up setting, because the exact same mistake was done again for a second time, not to mention the lies and fiascos that were generated through the year of 2017, causing my car to have to sit where it sat, and they were very aware of that. Why am I bringing all of that up? Because what happened in 2018, when I placed a call, coming back to it again, I finally had someone move on it at Social Security who was a believer. And she assured me she was reached the bottom of it. Everything was clear, set, ready to go, that it was coming, that was it. Standard 30 to 60 days. I had not heard anything. No documents coming in, which, you know, under any requirement law, you're supposed to know any and all information under documentation. Did not receive any information whatsoever. So turn around, February 2019 comes around, and I received a benefit statement that showed a missing amount for May 2018 of $499, which I knew would reflect what I had been waiting for. So I wound up contacting Social Security. Spoke to DC and ultimately Kentucky. Kentucky was the one who looked into it and saw, after having to fully explain the clarity, that this amount did exist, and they went on to explain, especially considering at the time it looked like they didn't send it direct deposit, whatever have you. I didn't get the straight answers I should have got knowing that, but was telling me to do a dire needs check, knowing obviously I had dire needs, you see, okay, what have you. And that don't count the fact that I don't get supplemental now. I mean, you can't change what God has you, but I was instructed by two separate sources to go to the local office to do a dire needs check in which to receive the money, never mind the mistakes that were apparent on the phone there. So that's what I did when I went to the Camp Springs office just in the month of April, which is my birth month. I got a fiasco there. Not to mention, they override DC when I told them the side of things I was told from there, and say, well, but we're telling you. And I'm saying, first of all, as a former military soldier, you don't but tell me nothing, because I wouldn't choose to be on Social Security, okay? Because I already know why you created this entire system. I know why all of this really exists. I'm just following through with the means given to me by God at the end of the day. But the fiasco went forward. They couldn't even prove half of what Kentucky and them was saying, and then turned around. After all of that, I pulled out my account information, which is Green Dot, and I saw the records that they reflected to me, and it revealed that they did pay the amount last May, which means technically a year ago this month, and this is the 15th of May 2019, I would have obviously got the money. Here's the thing. The problem is that their records clearly showed, and they showed it to me through the window, that it was paid. And I do know that they sent it out a second time, because the first time it went back. Here's the big kicker on that after they gave me the further disrespects, which reminds me of Charlotte Hall. I contacted Green Dot just today, and they sent me an email back reflecting the fact that there was no such payment received outside of the last ones that they had received. Which means now $499 after 2 years battle now is in limbo and nowhere to be found on nobody's side. Why does this matter even more? Because in 2010, I found out through an agency in Pittsburgh whose name I don't know that there was a total amount of $54,671.31 in Social Security that was due me. They were doing verifications. I originally had records of it and everything. They had a 3-month window to do it. They handle these type of cases. I do not know who they were. But I had every reason to believe that Baltimore Social Security, my hometown, knew all of this with what I would tell you now. Because they talked to Baltimore, they did obviously whatever paperwork, whatever was supposed to happen took place. They contacted me back, confirmed that everything was ready to go, but it was not known what the total amount was going to be as far as payments per month, but everything was clear and set. I got one payment of $2,200 something, whatever have you, and because of a lot of spiritual battles, things going on in the world, only in 2016, after another smart mouth Social Security person, while in St. Mary's County, going back to 2016, was I able to get a 2-line statement, pretty much still withholding the money that the legal agency in Pittsburgh said I was due for 15 years of Social Security. So if you deduct that couple of grand off of it, okay, and then add in the $499, we're looking at $57,000, $58,000 in Social Security that they have not paid me, and they are directly responsible for, they are directly responsible for my situation, and the fact that my car invested over $1,800 into it with $300 worth of 55,000 mile tires for 2 years has been sitting there. Now, under any law, mental anguish, disabilities act, things of this nature, if everything was pulled across the board, and I talked to a legal source that already verified what I know, I would likely be looking at a payout to where I would have clearly said in a settlement, without saying 5 words with the right person, I could get off of Social Security. And with the things that are coming that God revealed, that are taking place soon, the worst scenario already in place, asteroid, Nibiru, Gentile destroyer, Isaiah 24, verse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down, the pole ship, physical, not just magnetic, the movement of covert activities on this soil, multiple things that are taking place. It's not going to matter too much longer because I'm also well versed on everything on that, including the tsunamis. I had dreams of it myself, including recently, nuclear concepts, everything I am aware of, including the covert activities of things like the Vatican, Hollywood, and even those within the White House and everything who pay these same sources who back pedophilia while they sit there and tell other countries what to do. And yet my people are the tribe of Yad, which are the Blackfoot and Cherokees in my case, and then there are others like your Sioux, Piscataways, and as well as your Navajos, who also know that this land was theirs. I know the truth of how Mexico's border was established, and in the same elements I know Africa's background, enough to know that this land has burned 3 distinctive tribal zones, which is why God's judgment, by way of Russia even setting up, surrounded America with live nukes in Venezuela, while they threaten Iran, the king of the south, and all these things, are perpetuating Jeremiah chapter 50. I can say far more, but at 8:46, this story is telling you why you don't trust in no man. Now, if God suddenly has a will while the dollar still stands, which all of it will collapse, then I can easily tell Social Security to shove it up your demonic butt, give me my finances that I am due, and then I could buy me a fresh new Jeep, 4-wheel drive. I'm a survivalist by trade, think emergency, and get somewhere in a cottage in the hills with the gear that I need, and I would be good to go until he gives me a cruise ship to hit an island or somewhere else, and hopefully I'd have a passport or without whatever have you would be. So I'm God Level Soldier, God's Army Rising for you, telling you to trust God, not the world. Check out the music on BandLab. I'm God Level Soldier, telling you that don't ever trust Babylon and the White House. Trust God's house, because God's going to burn the White House, and at the end, it'll turn black. God Level Soldier is out.